Singapore banks and Singapore companies are facing more intense compliance challenges in the sanctions space than they probably have in the past for a number of reasons. One is the Russia program, and the Russia program is so multilateral, and there are so many different jurisdictions, including Singapore, that ended up passing its own set of sanctions, limited sanctions on certain Russian banks and other Russian activities. That's making banks in the region, but particularly in Singapore, a little more aware of their reach and the transactions that they're supporting and the customers they're supporting. Russia's going to continue to be a problem, I think, or an opportunity or a challenge for financial institutions that are trying to grapple with the reach of the sanctions. Myanmar, particularly so in this region, and for a couple of reasons. A, there's a lot of trade, obviously, that happens with Myanmar, and the banks do a lot of business in Myanmar, and their clients do a lot of business in Myanmar from Singapore. It's not a countrywide embargo, again, yet it used to be, right? It's not anymore. But in practice, the US has sanctioned over the last couple of years some of the larger military/economic companies in Burma, like MEH and MICL, and now recently a couple of the bigger banks, MICB and MFTB, I think it is the acronym, who basically have a lot of tentacles out into many sectors of the Myanmar, the Burmese economy. And because of their alleged linkage to the military, they've been put on the US blacklist. And so what that's doing is, for banks and anyone else that's doing business in the region, is they're having to do a lot of digging and extra diligence when they're looking at their commercial partners to say, who do you do business with? Who are you owned by? Do you have any connections to business activity involving some of these large military/economic conglomerates? There's more compliance resources, I think, and legal resources being dedicated to answering some of the threshold questions. So sanctions jurisdiction. Am I caught by these sanctions? If so, how? Are there licenses, right? What sorts of activities are do's and don'ts for my customers or for myself? Are there other risks that are not maybe straight legal risks I need to be thinking about? Be they reputational risks, be they risks of what are called secondary sanctions. So even if a bank is processing or engaged in activity that's not prohibited by, let's say, the US because there's no US jurisdiction, there could still be some attendant risks if there's business with a sanctioned party or a sanctioned jurisdiction. And so grappling with the nuances of these programs and sort of where it does and does not apply is step one. And we're seeing a lot more banks come to us and ask us those types of questions.